Hi, I'm Malcolm Roberts and I'm with Sharon Bell, the candidate for the seat of Blair in the federal election. And I'm also with Sandy Turner, who's a local here and has been on the ground here at Deebing Creek. Gary Duffy, Gary's well known to the people of Ipswich. He's the fellow who's led the anti-corruption exposing of Ipswich City Council, and you've done a marvellous job, mate. And Daniel Thompson, who is one of the family in this area. So Sandy, you know more about it. You've been on the ground for quite a while now.
Thank you, Malcolm. Basically, at the end of the day, these people have been dispossessed of lands granted for their use. It hasn't been done legally from what we can see at this point in time. We're still searching for our documentation, but it doesn't appear that it's been done legally. The limited heritage that they have now is on that mission. They were taken off their original lands, placed on the mission by the government of the day against their will. They have even less heritage and history on this country at this point in time than what we do. Daniel is one of the local traditional owners, Daniel Thompson.
Thanks for the intro, Sandy. Yeah, so basically what Sandy just touched on there, there's been, how should we put it, the land's been made freehold land, and we want to find out who did that.
Yep.
Sandy's, like you said, Sandy, thank you for your help, Sandy. He's been on the ground since day one, working that side of things, but we want to find out names and times and dates, and then just forward from that, of course, over the last few years we've also had cultural heritage consultation on the site, and to the best of my knowledge it includes people that aren't from the area, so that's very distressing for us. And my ancestry, both my grandparents are born at Perga, but my ancestry also belonged at Deebing, so my great grandparents and distant aunties and uncles. This site means the world to us. You know, it's our culture, and we want to practice culture on that land. And so we're looking for any avenues at all so we can get back on the land and practice our culture.
Okay, so Gary, you're familiar with how this land was taken away back in 1917?
Yeah, so when Daniel first contacted me in 2014, we started having a look at what was happening in the area, and how it came about to be transferred out of heritage mission land into or indigenous mission land into freehold land.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you know, everything I do, I base it basically on fact.
You're meticulous, mate. So
I got to find the nth degree of fact. So what we did was we had a look at all the documents that were put up by developers for the site, and it was cherry-picked information. It's what you would do if you were cherry-picking.
There have been a lot of questions about developers in general around Ipswich City Council, a lot of money floating around.
Mm-hmm. There have been, and there's matters before the court relating to properties out here to that. For instance, in 2000, the state government had to call in a housing development here at Deebing Creek because of the dodgy land practices and the land deal that went on. So Terry McEnroe, back then when he was the local government minister in 2000, actually called in a development out here at Deebing Creek, which is the property is just over the road here. But to find out the real facts, what we did was we asked the Parliamentary Library to check Hansard. So Hansard is a record of what happened in Parliament of the day. So in 1917, the first parliamentary sitting session in 1917 was where it was supposed to have been signed over that this land was rescinded.
Mm-hmm.
That never happened because there's no record of it in Hansard.
Mm-hmm.
So how it became ratified, that the rescinding was ratified by the Parliament,
mm-hmm.
which it has to be ratified by the Parliament.
And it wasn't.
And there's no record of it.
So the land should still be in the hands of the original landholders.
So basically there was two lots of land, one was for 41 acres and one was for 42 acres, and that was the only land out of 2,600 acres that was rescinded. Now, so when you have a look that for a decision to be made, it must be ratified by the Parliament, There was no ratification of these decisions in Parliament back there. That the Queensland Parliament has been able to locate for me. Right, so we've put up, based on that information, that there was nothing there. So right from the very beginning in 1917, of when the land was supposed to be taken back over control of the state government, it appears that didn't happen. So everything that happened after then has to be illegal. So we've asked for a commission of inquiry. So far, over 5,000 people in 8 days have signed the petition.
5,000?
5,000 people in 8 days have called for a commission of inquiry into the process of here at Deebering Creek, of the land deal at Deebering Creek. Now that's only people in Queensland who can sign this. It's a parliamentary petition, so you can go on to Parliament and find that petition. You can sign it. You only sign it once, because unlike what they did with Lady Salento, where they used one computer to sign it 3,000 times, on the parliamentary one, you get to sign it once and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, Malcolm, you'll put that link on the clip, won't you?
Yeah. Now, so Gary, the whole question of the land ownership is open.
The whole question of the land ownership is open, and the only way we will really find any truth is if we have a commission of inquiry into it. Now, we're not talking tuppence here. We're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars on a company that's going to make hundreds of millions or billions of dollars.
But Gary, just quickly, that's not our fault.
Yeah. So we noticed, like Daniel, you got a very good point, is that when Channel 7 or the media were out here the other day at the protest, we had a lot of people in Queensland, and look, I asked the people of Queensland to keep an open mind, because it is not the Indigenous people's fault. They didn't do the grubby land deals. They weren't involved in any of this. All they are is they're the victims of what has happened. They're not after a handout, they're not after anything like that. They just want their place back, which was theirs, at which their ancestors grew up on, where there's a Bora ring on, where there were children massacred out there, out here at Deebering Creek, where families were dispossessed of land, of their culture. They were dispossessed of their own family.
Enslaved also, mate.
And enslaved. And so if you are on Facebook and you're being a keyboard warrior and you're attacking the people, it's not about that. The decision for a commission of inquiry is simply to find the truth. And we all want to find the truth, because the truth is what matters. And
this issue goes way beyond whether someone's Aboriginal or European or whatever, because there are a lot of people in Ipswich who have been done over by the Ipswich City Council, and it's got strong connections to the state government. There's corruption there. To speak positively, what about Joanne Miller? Done a marvellous job, and yourself.
Can't speak highly enough of her.
Yeah, the people in the community think so highly of Joanne Miller, who's a Labor member of Parliament, who stood up against her own party to try and expose this corruption. It took, 14, 15 years for you to finally crack it, and now there are a lot of people who've been hurt, both Europeans and Aboriginal. But with regard to the Aboriginals, when I was a senator, we also realised and started investigating, before I got knocked out, some claims where Aboriginals had taken land off other Aboriginals. And it seems to be an elite Aboriginal industry that is taking the money, taking the land, taking the resources, controlling the water, controlling the other Aboriginals, whether it be in Cape York or Central Queensland or other parts. And here, it's not only that, Daniel, it's also a city council that looks like it's just skated through the facts.
Yeah, so Gary would have touched on it on a lot of Facebook posts recently, same with Sandy.
Yep.
The MOU and the ILUA that was made up, I'm struggling to...
An MOU is a Memorandum of Understanding.
There you go.
An ILUA is an Indigenous Land Use Agreement.
There you go, he knows a lot of stuff. So, yeah, that's what they are, but they were formed with people, a discontinued claim, and a discontinued claim not yesterday. We're talking years ago.
Yep.
Frasers acquired the land in 2015. The people behind consultation on the land, are they from here? I don't think so. And it's not good enough.
So it's a very messy thing. That's why you need a commission of inquiry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the commission and the It took us 3 weeks to get the wording of the petition right with the Parliament, because the Parliament will not put a petition up if it's not factual. So when you read the petition, it's worded a particular way because we wanted to outline what the points of reference that we need a commission of inquiry into, and that is that the value of the cultural heritage to the community here in Ipswich as well. So it is the wording took lots of negotiation. I had to put a lot of evidence up to the clerk of the Parliament before he would approve the petition. So it wasn't just a matter of writing a petition up and then putting it in and getting it approved and then it's posted online and everyone votes on it, because it's illegal for me to misrepresent the truth on a petition. So the petition has to be based on fact, and it is based on fact. So when you see that petition, there was a lot of background work that went into it. It didn't just happen to be made up. It had to be based on the facts that were available, and that's why if you sign it, you're signing something that's not being deceptive, and it's based on a factual outcomes.
So you go ahead.
There's a lot of these petitions you'll see to the Parliament that are simply calling for a footpath somewhere. This is not a trivial petition. This is a major petition with major ramifications.
And also, just in finishing up, you can see how complex things are, Sharon.
A very difficult situation.
Yeah, and these are the kinds of things that MPs have to wade themselves through. Actually, most MPs avoid them, because we've been dealing with the Aboriginal...
I'd like to be able to avoid it, Malcolm, but it's, you know,
I know,
close to me.
but a lot of MPs actually dodge this thing because of the lack of This starts from the lack of accountability in Canberra, Daniel. There's a lack of accountability in federal government, lack of accountability in state parliament, very close connections between the corrupt Labor Council and the state government, and these things have been covered over for so many years. Thank you so much, Gary, for what you've done in exposing the corruption. How many people now up on charges, serious charges in Ipswich?
15.
15, one city council. How many councils are now under investigation? How many mayors?
There's 5.
5 mayors.
In Queensland.
So you can see this is just symptomatic. Daniel's issue is really important to the people here. But this is one hell of an issue for the whole of Queensland, because we've got 5 mayors under investigation. We've got so many council officers. We've now got a new organisation that you've helped found called the Queensland Local Government Reform Association. It is that bad in this state. So we really need to have a look at the whole of governance in this country. And that's why we need people like this lady in Parliament. And you put your hand up too?
I have. I'm running as an independent here in the Blair as well. As you can see, I get along very, very well with One Nation. We share a lot of the same views. We can work together. We need to take the politics out of it though. This isn't about politics. It's about right and wrong. It's about doing the right thing for Australia.
We just came from right and wrong, didn't we, Sandy, at the incinerator?
We did.
Yes.
And one final thing, you're going for mayor, aren't you?
Yes, I'm in 2020. Yes, I'm running for mayor. Just on one point, I'm not a founding member of QLGRA.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so
I know you're active in it, very active.
Yeah, so I'm just a committee member, but we work on a different system.
Well, I've got to say thank you very much. We've been in close touch for a couple of years now. Thank you very much for what you're doing for our state, not just the City of Ipswich. And City of Ipswich, you've dragged City of Ipswich out from under the claws of a few very corrupt people.
Yeah, and don't think it's over yet, because they're still trying and they're still beating their drums around the city, hoping to get back in. So we still got a fight on our hands, as Daniel has got a fight on his hand, as you guys have got a fight on your hand when you run for Blair, because you're running against an organisation that wants to hide the truth. Our Commission of Inquiry, through the Parliament, they cannot hide the truth, because anyone can be called. Daniel can be called and his evidence will be taken in. Everyone can be called. It's not like a court case or a court hearing where the one side gets to select who goes there. Commission of Inquiry, everyone gets an opportunity to present.
And I want to say one final thing, and that's to the people of Ipswich, because you have given the Labor Party year after year in office. They're taking you for granted. They're being very arrogant. They're treating you disrespectfully. They're not listening to you. And this is the result. And we've got people here standing up for people of Ipswich. You've got to stop voting for Labor. Vote for someone else, because you've got to bring Ipswich back into the modern days. You've been taken advantage of and been run over. And so for goodness sake, let's bring democracy back to federal parliament, bring democracy back to the state parliament, and bring democracy back to the local government. And I thank you all very, very much for what you're doing. Gary, congratulations on your achievement so far, mate. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Sharon, we've kept Gary Duffy back. What did you make of all of that?
Well, been listening to everything all the evidence that everyone's been putting up today about the traditional owners of the land here. And One Nation, that's what we're here for. We're here to listen, and we'll certainly follow this through too, because we really care about the situation here. So yeah, we'll be following through with this story and seeing what the outcome is, and doing everything we can as a party to, you know, get the solutions that the people need here.
Well, one of the things is that since we've been in Parliament, since 2016, you hear the Labor Party and Liberal Party saying that they go out and listen. They never used to say that. But then they're saying that because they know that we're doing that. The trouble with the Labor and Liberal Party is they can't actually do anything. So it doesn't matter if they do listen, because the party backroom power brokers take care of it. You've seen that, Gary, for the last 15 years.
Yeah, we've seen it all along. I've been in politics since 1979. I started out as a little fella in politics, and
I'm still a little fella.
And went along with the party line. I got involved in politics real early, and I've always been in the background. I've always helped everyone, helped someone do this. I've always put the material together, put all the facts together and put them out there. And then then I realised that the outcome was they were working for a corrupt outcome.
Yep.
And that was not who I am. And so I left, and I went out and...
You were in another political party?
And
you were in another political party at the time?
Yeah, I was in another political party. I was in the Labor Party in the 1970s and 80s, yes. Yeah, so I was... they actually nominated me for a seat, and I rejected it, so because of the politics involved in getting underneath into that, yeah.
So the key thing is, as you're finding out, to listen, to get all the stories, get all the facts. But then what really sets One Nation apart is Pauline Hanson, like a bulldog, never lets things go, and that's what we've got to keep doing. So if you're elected into Parliament, I know you're going to be strong. I've seen you in action. We've got to listen, and we've got to pursue. So these are just some of the issues. There are issues all over the electorate of Blair, right in the heart of Ipswich too. You've seen them. So listen and pursue. I know you're up for it.
Yep, I am.
Okay.
Well, good luck, and I wish you all the best in the upcoming election, and hopefully we can have change in Ipswich, because you know, if a electorate isn't on the cusp of changing, every electorate, they become too comfortable, and that creates corruption. So we need this electorate to be on the cusp of change every time. No one should feel comfortable in Parliament. They should always feel the need to work hard for the people they represent, and that's the fact of what should happen. So look, good luck, and hopefully in 2020 we can be in the council and represent the people, and hopefully we might see you guys in the Parliament as well.
It'd be a nice change to have the people of Ipswich having a voice in Parliament that looks after them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.